below to prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
To another episode of Dad is Not Now. My name is Ishmael, changing the narrative of men of color and fatherhood, as well as changing the narrative on the things I care about. And today, I have a special friend with me, all the way from the beautiful country of Nigeria. He's back. I call him the returning champion. Ola. He is a humanitarian guru, a literary activist, author, and he's making a difference in boys and girls' life in Nigeria. And also, he's the founder of BMAN, the Boys Mentoring Advocacy Network. And his organization is doing amazing work to inspire the future of Nigeria. And he's with me again. Ola, thank you for coming on, brother.
Thank you, Brother Ishmael. It's always a privilege and honor to share your platform, and I'm happy to be here. I want to thank you for the amazing work you do for Black men and for all the people in the world.
No, no, no. Thank you. Thank you for all the work you do. My question I ask all my guests, and you know what I'm going to ask you, because again, I'm all about mental health, whether here in the States, whether abroad. How's your heart at this moment?
Oh, I'm inspired. When your heart is inspired, it shows that you are aligning your existence with your purpose. The issue with mental health most times is when there is disalignment with who we are, what we ought to do, where we should be expressing ourselves. When these are conflicts, or when they conflict with our current uh, reality and experiences, mental health is unavoidable. So right now, I'm fully inspired. I'm, I'm, I'm joyfully expressing myself in what I do, and they keep me going. So I'm good. I'm great.
And I think what will lead to How's Your Heart, we'll talk about a little bit later about the book that you just released called Live. So we're going to get into the principles of Live later down the road. But just tell the audience who's listening, who didn't watch the first conversation we had a couple of years ago. Tell people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm Ola Akinwe. I would say like you said, a humanitarian group. Because I see myself from the point of humanity first, and uh, I'm the founder of Boys Mentoring Advocacy Network, BMAN. I work with boys on different initiatives, and the goal is simple: to help them with the tools they will need to navigate the journey from boyhood to men. That's what my primary calling is. And I also help them to explore the ultimate purpose of life, which is primarily why we were all here. I guide them with different principles, the TRUST, the useful framework. Uh, I'm just here to ensure that young men find a mentor, find a path to harness their potentials, properly cultivated, so that we can have a life outcomes that are positive for each and every one of them. So, in a nutshell, I'm a man who believes that with the positive distractions and interactions with our boys, our society can be proud of the men that will uplift everyone in the society.
And when I think of the word breathe, right? The Latin root word to breathe is to inspire. What you put into
Absolutely.
the air, people are going to gravitate to. So before we get into your initiative, who were some of the people that inspire you to be in that place of serving others?
Well, to be honest, I want to credit that to my mother, my late mother. It comes from who inspired me to be of service. She lived very short life, but I could remember during her time here with us, she was very sacrificial. And she was selfless. So I think I picked those things from her, looking at the way she serve people, looking at the way she support people, and looking at the way she gave. You know, this is a woman that can give to a fault. So I learned that. I would say I learned that. But as I began to grow, I see other people in terms of the kind of books I read. So I began to see the point from where I look at life from the communal support, rather than personal, individual achievements and all of that. I think we drift as a society when everybody's focus is on individual achievements, and that framework has not helped us. It has only created a kind of division and class status among men. So those are the things that inspire me into service, to find a way where we can redefine the world in such a way that we look at kind of communal achievement as the overall goal and not individual achievement.
No, definitely, definitely. I think that's vital because in this world that we live in, we all constantly talk about the individual, the individual. We talk about the story of the individual who made it, but we don't talk
Yeah,
about the people that helped that person to propel them into that position. And so
absolutely.
community plays a vital role. And I love that you said your mom was your greatest inspiration, because I'm a strong believer that men can be nurturers too. I know we often talk about women being nurturers, but also I believe men have that power too. It's just men um, haven't unlocked that potential. And
Yeah.
so let's talk about your initiative, the Global Hug. I'm going to bring up the flyer right now so people can see. What was the inspiration behind the Global Hug? And why is it so important that people be a part of the Global Hog Initiative?
Oh, thank you. The Global Hub Initiative actually came up when I was in my work with boys, let me be honest, and in my research and in my readings. I find out in 2023 precisely that teenage boys are the most unhugged population in the world. And when I saw that, I immediately begin to research into validating this research. And I find out that it's absolutely true. A whole lot of men out there right now have not received or could count the number of hugs they receive from their father. And what if one simple act of hug could transform the trajectory of a boy's life? Globally, boys are in crisis. And according to our 2023 World Health Organization report, suicide is now the second leading cause for deaths of males aged 10 to 24 with emotional disconnection as a key risk factor. So, but when you go to research, you also find out that the paternal affection is the single strongest predictor of resilience, reducing depression by 40% and aggression by 60%. So the Global Hug for Boys campaign want to bridge this gap by celebrating and redefining father and son bonds across culture, borders, and generation.
And I think it's important to understand that in this algorithm society that we live in, it just takes a couple of people to show that, to let people, to let men, dads, mentors, because again, you don't have to be a dad. You can be a mentor. You can be a form of father figure. You know, I tell a people, I tell a lot of people that aren't dads, someone is looking up to you. You know,
That's
someone is, there's a young boy or a young girl that's inspired to you, inspired by you. And I think it's important that as a to separate those borders that we have in this world, if we can do something to harness that that capacity of empathy and love and vulnerability, that it's okay, you know, especially for like the hardest machismo men, that it's okay, you know, to hug to hug a boy, hug a girl that needs it. Because if I can remember a quote, it was a quote. If I might mess it up, that all a young men, all they want is to be embraced by warmth, and if they don't get it, they're gonna burn the community seeking for that warmth.
yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. So, and that is what uh, at least inspired me to finding a solution to this father and son disconnection pandemic. Is a global pandemic because you have a lot of disconnected boys in the society for right now. In fact, statistics reveals that 68% of boys in the US report physical affection decline from their father when they get to the age of 12.
Mm.
In the UK, 1 in 3 fathers admit that they never saying I love you to their sons. According to UNICEF, 56% of boys surveyed in countries report really hearing from their father, I love you. Now, these are huge, huge number of boys disconnected from their primary care, which is the father in their life. And you know, boys without paternal affections are 3 times more likely to develop ADHD.
Mm.
So we have to look for a way to amplify these uh, needs of boys in order for us to bridge the gap and bring that affection, that father-son affection into their life.
Right.
Remember, the skin is the largest organ in the body. Just 10 seconds of a hug from your father or from your father figure releases that oxytocin, the happy hormone, saying, oh, I feel I am accepted here. I belong here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That validation that is coming from a father to a son.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, when they don't get it from their fathers, they go out to seek for it. And what you get outside is an attention, no longer affection.
Yeah.
And this is why the Global Hub for Boys is reaching out that, look, we want to address the ripple effect of disconnected boys becoming men struggling with intimacy, depression, and societal violence. But the inverse is also true. Strong father bond create healthier families, communities, and economies. So these are the real reason why this is so dear to us. The mission of the Global Hub for Boys is very simple: to normalize emotional connection between father and sons worldwide through advocacy, education, and cultural storytelling. This is what we want to achieve. And like I said, we had a pilot program in Nigeria last year, and at least from what I see from fathers who took up this 10 seconds of daily hug with their sons, reported a higher bonding, and it becomes like what has a culture of approval, a culture of I'm holding you there, I'm holding you there to my heart. You know what a touch means to a boy? A touch from his father.
Yeah.
Just imagine what a touch does to you when you feel that embrace coming from your dad. And imagine this staggering statistic where our young boys and young men, they are seeking this emotional connection, but we're not giving it to them. So the feeling of being disconnected is what is found all over the place, right? So the Global Hub for Boys has come to address this. Everywhere there is a father in a boy's life, we want that father to pledge a 10 seconds of hug every day with your son.
Mm.
Just 10 seconds. And see the affections and the connection improves. And see a man who understands intimacy, who is building up positive intimacy. And we can go on and on. We have cases like, if you go to New Zealand, the Maori people, they do this, and statistics are there that 37% of lower youth suicide rate among these people because of that the connection.
Mhm.
So the Global Hub for Boys is here. Is here. Our goal is simple: organize a 24 hours of global event where participants will pledge to give and receive hug, celebrating that universal language of connection.
Mm.
Every hug symbolizes breaking barrier to a healthy touch. What
Mhm.
we are promoting here is a healthy touch between the father and the son, thereby building that paternal affection,
And
creating that
mhm.
culture of paternal affection globally. And this is what we want the world to understand why we're doing this. And the science behind hug is that 30% increase in oxytocin
Mhm.
after 10 seconds of hugs. Just 30%. And you know what that does to you? Even as an adult right now, there are times just a hug. That's just all you need. Just that one hug. That's all you
Yeah.
yeah. So
It's
our
just
boys need that. And most importantly,
mhm.
from their fathers.
No, definitely, definitely. And I think it gives that validation. But as well, excuse me, I equate that to the studies show that reading to your child when they're an infant, it's going to make them be more intrigued and engaged of loving to read. Those 10 minutes before they go to bed and you give them story time, that will
Yeah,
impact their life for the rest of their life. That's
yeah,
why what you're doing with the Global Hug Initiative is that 10 seconds of just hugging your child
yeah,
will impact their life forever because they're going to remember that moment. And when they have kids, um, or if they don't have kids, they have nieces and nephews, they're going to remember those hugs that you got from your father that you're giving to them. And it's breaking that old fashioned tradition, which I'm not going to say is a bad thing, but to say it's okay to show that emotional interaction with the youth that's around you, because that's what they're looking for. Like
absolutely.
one of the most beautiful things I've seen is like videos of dads holding their child and their first words is "dada," and you hear
Mm-hmm.
that, see that emotional connection that dad have with that child. That child's first word was "dada." That was that recognition
Yeah,
that child knows that you're the father, you're there, and that's what that
absolutely.
kid needs from you, and vice versa with the hug. They just need that validation that you love them, you're there for them.
Yeah,
Yes, you put a roof over their head,
yeah,
you do all this stuff, but a hug, say I love you, is transformational.
absolutely. Yeah. You know, I spoke with a young man about a few weeks ago, and I was asking him, can you recall a moment where you actually had a hug or received a hug from you? This young man is be about 24 years. He said I could count maybe occasionally, maybe 3 times all through his lifetime to this age. One said, nobody hugs me when I was growing up. Now my mom wants to try to hug me, but I don't have never felt that from my dad. And that is why we are coming up, or we came up with this thing for this year. Hugs across cultures, global perspectives on father-son bonding. We want to actually look at the global perspectives. You know, what is it like in different part of the world about these hugs? What impacts, what barriers will this help us to break? You know, is the circle of emotional neglect. When you don't hug your son, you are emotionally neglecting your son,
Mm,
because that emotional connection is like I I feel that this is my dad. It gives me that assurance that I have a place in his heart.
right.
Yeah, that's you could buy him all the gifts in the world, but in the absence of your 10 seconds hug every day, you have emotionally neglected that.
Mm,
So is our duty as a father to understand the place of that emotional connection. To say, Dad, you still trust me. When you hug your son, you're telling your son, I trust you, son. It's a place of trust where you are giving him that 10 seconds of time of your time is way, way more than $100 gift or $1,000 gift that you are bringing back from work to him
right.
after the close of the day's work. This is what our boys who have felt disconnected we have to reconnect with them emotionally
Yeah.
so that we can have a connected men who understand the place of boys becoming men will tell you that this is a need in the heart of every man, every boy. But once it's missing, it becomes a hole in there.
Be a part of this mission of the Global Hug Initiative. How can people get involved?
Yeah, for the Global Hug for Boys, like I said, on the 4th of July this year, we'll be having a global summit on hug across cultures, global perspectives of father and son bonding. So you could be part of the global summit. It's on Zoom, and you can register. I think the link to register is on our website. It's out there. You can register, and if you want to support if us to empower fathers who love their sons, create this global awareness for these emotional connections, so that our disconnected boys, can find a path back to the heart of their fathers. Because what we're doing here is also bringing the father's heart back to their sons and bringing the son's heart back to their fathers with 10 seconds a day emotional connection through hug. That's what we're saying every day. Do this every day. So, but our goal is to ensure that this year, before the end of this year, we'll have a minimum of a pledge of 1 million hugs globally, where you take you give a hug to your son, take a picture of it, post it on your social media with the hashtag Global Hug for Boys, or Embrace the Bond, or Fast Festival, because it's a festival between a father and a son, a daily festival that takes place between the father and the son. So it's not like an annual festival. This is a daily festival that must happen between the father and the son. So you can help us share that with the hashtag Global Hug for Boys, or Fast Festival, or Embrace the Bond. These are the hashtag we want to use. And when you share that, also encourage your friends or relatives who you know that is having a son, or you are a father figure or a male figure in a boy's life. Take a picture of you hugging him, or you take a video and just share. Let both of you share your experience, how it feels at that moment. Those are the things we want to achieve. And going forward, we'll be having this every year on the first and the second day of August of every year. Will be the Global Hug for Boys campaign, where we bring this awareness into the homes, into the life of our young boys and their fathers, just to reconnect. We must bring back that emotional connection. Our boys need this. In fact, our fathers too, they can get healed. This healing, it can come through the connection they have with their son. You don't need to give your son away. You don't need to give them away to those men out there that they thought they find love, but all they could give them is attention. And when they give them attention, they don't understand it's not love, and they manipulate them.
Yes.
Be the father in your son and create a ritual of 10 seconds hug every day. This is what Global Hug for Boys campaign is asking every man, every boy to come together who has, a father and a son, to promote this healthy touch. Yeah. So if you want to support this, the donation link is also there, where you can help us so that we can continue this work globally. It's taking a lot of strength, a lot of finances from us putting this together. Is a huge task. But I do believe with this initiative, we can reduce aggression, and we can reduce depression in our boys. And even our men can find healing by knowing that I had a son who still trusts me. I have a son who is looking up for my embrace. So embrace the bond. Global hug for bond.
Definitely, definitely. And then also granddad, you could be a part of it too. You're not excluded from it too.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's
Uncles.
generational.
Yeah.
If you look at our world, we're saying across culture, the goal is very, 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 very simple. It's one boy, one embrace,
Mm-hmm.
one father,
Mm-hmm.
one future at a time.
Yep. And, yep. I
That's
love
the
it.
goal. That's
And
the goal. We must come to, you see, the truth is this. The World Health Organization calls male loneliness a silent epidemic.
mm-hmm.
The hug also is a way to heal loneliness in boys and men, in fathers and in sons. You know, imagine a world where every boy grows up knowing that he is loved.
Mm.
Imagine that world. Not just by his family, but by a global community that champions his wholeness. With everyone's support, we can turn the tide.